Hi everyone, we're going to solve this equation 2n squared plus 5n, this should be an n, sorry about that, plus 6 equals 0. So again, let's put this in. Alright, so let's first write what our a, b's, and c's are. Our a is going to be 2, our b is 5, and our c is 6. So we're going to have to use the quadratic formula on this one. Here it is. And let's write it out. So we have x equals negative b, so that's negative 5, plus or minus square root of b squared, so that's to be 5 squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2 times 2. Now this simplifies to negative 5 plus or minus square root of negative 23. I always want to put the second number first. 23 divided by 4. Now, for the negative, remember, we can write this as square root of negative 1 times the square root of 23. And the square root of negative 1 is I. So we're going to write this as x equals negative 5 plus or minus. We're pulling out this negative and making an I. It's better to put the I in front of the radical sign, just to be clear that it doesn't go under. Sometimes people put it here, then they draw that, and it looks kind of like it's underneath the radical. That's why usually they put the I in front of the radical sign. So here's our two solutions. Now we're left with determining if we did it correctly by checking our solutions with the sum and product of the roots. So let's write our solutions down again. We have x equals negative 5 plus square root, well, let's put the I here, I square root of 23 divided by 4, or x equals negative 5 minus I square root of 23 divided by 4. So this is going to be our solution 2. This one is our solution 1. Now let's do the sum of the roots to check if we get our b and our a. And recall that a is 2, b is 5, and c is 6. So let's add these up. Our common denominator is going to be 4. So I'm just going to put 4 for common denominator and just add the numerator. So we have negative 5 plus I times square root of 23. And then we have another negative, so negative 5 minus I square root of 23. Okay, so 4 is our denominator again. And what happens is these cancel out. The I square root of 23's, we get negative 10, which is actually negative 5 divided by 2. And we want this to equal negative b divided by a. And it looks like it worked out. Our a is 2. That's checks. We have negative b equals negative 5. That means b equals 5. Now we're left with the c portion. So let's do that part. That means we're going to have to do our product of roots. So we're going to add, multiply our two solutions together. And that's why I have this here, because we have complex solutions. We're going to use this formula here. Because remember, I squared equals negative 1. So let's multiply these two together. Now, when you multiply the denominator, you're going to get 16. Now, I'm going to use this formula here because this is what we have. Our a is negative 5. So basically what I want to put here is a squared plus b squared. Our a is negative 5, so square that. That gives you 25. So I'm going to change this a to 25. a squared 25. Our b is square root of 23. Because remember, the I turns into negative 1. So square root of 23 squared is 23. So let's write 23 here. So this gives us 48 divided by 16. And that's going to equal 2 and 6. Now, if you actually reduce this, you would get 3. Whoops, sorry. If you reduce this, you would get actually 3 divided by 1. The problem is we want our a's to be the same. We already know our a is 2 based off our sum. So that's why you want to do the sum first. So we need our a to be 2. So you don't reduce it to 3 divided by 1. You reduce it to 6 divided by 2. And that does give us our c equals 6 here. So just make sure when you're doing this that when you do your sum and product that your a's are the same. Sometimes you have to make it a bigger number just to get the a's the same. So that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.